Thank you very much for the invitation today to this webinar. I'm very happy to be with you and to have this opportunity to present this network of farmers and projects that indeed was funded by the European Commission from 2020 to 2025 under the banner of the European Green Deal, and especially under the banner of the Farm to Fork strategy that plans to halve pesticide use and pesticide impacts by 2030. So the name of the project was an EU-wide network of demonstration farms, and I will show today the specific methodology to promote the adoption of holistic IPM by farmers, and so as to reduce the reliance on synthetic pesticides. Oops. Sorry. The objective of this project and network was to work with pioneer farmers who are implementing IPM, to work with them to demonstrate that reducing drastically pesticide use and impact is indeed possible, can be cost effective, and does not impair food security in Europe, provided that IPM is considered with a holistic approach. And in the project, we try to define what is a holistic approach to IPM, and we came to the conclusion that holistic IPM could be defined first by objective. The objective is to have healthy crops with reduced pesticide use, a safer environment, enhanced biodiversity, avoidance of problems of resistances, and finally a better pest control through 5 pillars. And the 5 pillars of holistic IPM are presented here. The first one is at the landscape level, is to adapt the landscape so as to attract beneficial organisms with hedgerows, flower streets, and so on, and reduce the pest pressure at the landscape level. The second pillar is about cropping systems, the redesign of cropping systems to decrease the pressure of pests, weeds, and diseases through crop rotation, resistant cultivars, sowing dates, and so on. The third pillar is the preferential use of non-chemical control options, such as biocontrol, for example, but also mechanical weeding, for example. The fourth pillar is defined as the optimization of decision-making for treatments, using, for example, decision support systems, and this to avoid any treatment that would be unnecessary. And finally, once it is decided to treat, the fifth pillar is about increased efficiency of treatments using technologies such as patch spraying against perennial weeds and so on, and specific equipment to decrease the quantity, the amount of pesticides that is applied for the same level of efficacy. So in the project, we built a network at the European level, and this network had two components, by the way. First of all, we tried to coordinate 5 national initiatives on IPM. One in France, which is called the DEFI network of demonstration farm, a very large network of demonstration farm. The second one in UK, LEAF, that you probably know, Grown in the Netherlands, DIPS in Germany, and finally Pestired in Switzerland. So we coordinated with those 5 national initiatives, but the core of the project was about the launching of new groups of demo farms. We launched 22 groups of demonstration farms that you have on the maps, covering different farming sectors, arable field crops, vineyards, orchards, outdoor vegetables, and greenhouse horticulture. So we had 31 partners in this project, covering 16 countries. And finally, at the end, we had about 2,400 farms, if we include the 5 national initiatives contributing to the IPMWORKS networks. Otherwise, in the 22 groups of farmers, we had about 250 farms involved. So here you have the basics of the specific methodology that we developed for IPMWORKS. For the idea is to foster IPM adoption by farmers, and the idea is about the exchange of knowledge from peer to peer, from farmer to farmer, and also from advisor to advisor, because you will see that advisory aspects are very important, were very important in this project. So we developed this concept of hub. What is a hub? A hub is a group of typically 10 to 15 farmers, preferentially pioneer farmers that are already implementing IPM. Those farmers they should wish to decrease the use of plant protection products, and they should be ready to share knowledge, but they also should be ready to learn from colleagues. They should live close enough in the same region and farming on the same sector to be able to meet regularly and to discuss about the pest problem that they meet and the solutions that they can find to manage those pest problems. And each group is facilitated by an advisor, and we called this advisor a hub coach, typically. And I will come back to this later. And those groups, they also try to experiment new solutions, and they also organize field visits and demonstration events with the idea of showcasing what they are doing in terms of IPM adoption to other farmers of the region. So the hub coach was very important in this methodology. Here you have on our YouTube channel, you can listen to what Jolene, a hub coach in Belgium, how she's explaining the role of hub coaches with 5 aspects of the role. First of all, they provide some individual advice to farmers, and they help them to think holistic, to think about the 5 pillars of holistic IPM to find non-chemical solutions. The second aspect is collective. The collective coaching of the group is very important to facilitate the peer-to-peer knowledge exchange from farmer to farmer about crop and pest management. They are organizing demo events in the farms to hit all the farmers, as I said. They also share information with other head coaches at the European level, and this is very important. And this can cover technical aspects of IPM, what new IPM solution is emerging in one part of Europe, and how it can be shared with others. But they are also sharing some information about soft skills of the facilitation of groups of farmers to promote and facilitate IPM adoption. And finally, and this is also very important, they had to collect some data describing the details of the IPM strategies, of the farming practices in all farms, to get some factual data to demonstrate to the farming community that they indeed decreased the pesticide use, and those data were also here to compute indicators of cost efficiency of the strategies, of the economic profitability of the IPM-based strategies. So we had, at the end of the project, we had the conclusion that we had a very enthusiastic endorsement of this specific methodology by our community, IPMWORKS community of advisors. And this was endorsement both by the hub coaches and by the farmers. The farmers, they were very happy to be in groups, to have technical discussions with peers. And also, clearly, they were reassured from the group about maybe taking some risk to adopt new non-chemical solutions for managing the different pests. And the head coaches, they were also very enthusiastic in this clearly new approach for advising farmers with more diverse activities, and also some very human aspects of the advising, trying to develop the trust of the farming group. So for this methodology, we had to develop specific skills for the advisors, and we organized some capacity building sessions, grouping all the hub coaches, all the advisors of the network to share some information. Indeed, again, both on technical aspects of IPM and on soft skills. And yes, again, at this level, it's also based on peer-to-peer knowledge exchange from advisor to advisor. I wanted to show you some practical aspects of how the reduction of pesticide use is achieved in IPMWORKS, and to illustrate very quickly each of the 5 pillars of holistic IPM. So the first pillar is about landscape management, and those pictures are from greenhouse horticulture in southern Spain, in Almeria, for those who knows, those who know this very particular place for greenhouses. And we met some farmers who here developed really the management of biodiversity, both outside the greenhouses and inside the greenhouses, growing some flowers in the outside and inside the greenhouses to attract the beneficial organisms and to give some food for the beneficial organisms, including the biocontrol agents that they release in the greenhouses, so they can survive longer and be longer active in the greenhouses. So this is a very nice example of how the landscape can be adapted to improve pest management. The second pillar is illustrated here about the redesign of cropping systems with a farmer from France, by the way. He also gave a very nice interview that you can find on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. He is explaining how he's managing weeds in his arable field crops with long and diversified crop rotations, with winter crops, summer crops, spring crops, choosing competitive cultivars, adapting the soil tillage regime by full seedbed and delayed sowing, occasional plowing, moderate fertilization, mechanical weeding, and so on. Everything makes a very comprehensive and consistent cropping system to reduce drastically the need for the herbicides to manage the weeds. The third pillar is about non-chemical control options. So here, 2 examples. So again, the mechanical weeding of the same farmer in the Jura region of France. But also we could cite the biocontrol strategies, the strategies based on biocontrol in the greenhouses managed by Coexfal in southern Spain. Typically they release, and they had, I don't know if you know, but in this region of Spain, they had to change drastically the way they are managing the pests in the greenhouses, mostly because of the problems of resistance of insect pests to the insecticides. And they have now very nice strategies based on biocontrol agents that prove to be very efficient with very low levels of pesticide use. Fourth pillar about decision making. So here we collaborated quite a lot with a sister project, a European project, which is called IPM Decisions. And in IPMWORKS, we tried to promote the platform of IPM Decision. And this platform is including a number of decision support systems for IPM and for making the decision of treatments based on different models. And in IPMWORKS, we promoted this platform and we tried to test with farmers the benefits of using such decision support systems to decrease the need, to decrease the use of pesticides by avoiding unnecessary treatments. And finally, the efficiency of treatments is here illustrated by this nice picture from vineyards with specific equipment based on recovery panels that can save up to 40% of pesticide products in the treatments. So we had, at the end of the project, we had a work package dedicated to human science And this work package produced some very interesting documents that you can find on our website, which describe the methodology and describe some major tips to be efficient in this methodology, how to recruit farmers, how to build trust among farmers, how to some tips also to organize meetings of farmers to facilitate knowledge exchange from farmer to farmer. So if you are interested, I encourage you to read those documents. This slide is now to show a very quick overview of all the outcomes of the project. We had a lot of activities. The outcome I am the most proud of is the community of hub coaches that we created. This community of people who share the method. So I think we made the proof of concept based on this sample of farmer hubs about the methodology. We made about 250 demonstration events at the farm level. We did a mapping of IPM solutions. We had a lot of communications. Also, we developed a very important aspect. We developed an IPM resource toolbox that you also can find on the internet, which is a platform where you can find a number of IPM-related resources from different countries, from different projects, including IPMWORKS, of course. So please go to this platform to browse and find some resources. We developed e-learning training modules because it was important in the context of the project about the different aspects of IPM. And of course, we made some surveys. So unfortunately, I have not the time to describe all the surveys that we made in our farms and how we collected data that demonstrates the cost efficiency of the IPM strategy based on little use of pesticides. And finally, we made some policy recommendations. And the next slide is about this topic. IPMWORKS ran during the period of intense debates at the European Parliament about the regulation on sustainable use of pesticides. And we contributed quite a lot to those debates with 2 hearings, 1 exhibition at the European Parliament. We had a training at EFSA. We had different stakeholders events. We had conferences. We produced some documents and so on. So we tried to influence the debates. I think we missed on this topic because finally the regulation on the sustainable use of pesticides was not voted, in spite of the fact that we tried to demonstrate that adopting holistic IPM would not had any negative impact on the food security in Europe. We tried to demonstrate this. And finally, this is my last slide, conclusion about the future. Finally, at the end of the project, we made this slide, how to maximize the impact of this network. First of all, 2 components. First of all, we think we made the proof of concept for a EU-wide network of demonstration farms trying to demonstrate innovative strategies to manage pests, weeds, diseases with low amounts of pesticides. But the network was too small. And we would like to continue, of course, and to expand the network of farmers. Our objective could be to reach 4,000 demo farms throughout Europe and maybe outside Europe to apply this methodology. We had a strategy for continuing, which is based on 2 components. The first component is to find some funding for the coordination of this European network. We need little money to coordinate, and coordinating means organizing the network, organizing the working plan, organizing the communication, organizing the data collection in the farms, and the data processing to produce some convincing results and so on. And we need a little money for this. And then once we have a coordination at the European level, our strategy is to invite any group of farmers coordinated by an advisor to meet, to reach and to come to the IPMWORKS network, to follow the methodology that I presented today, and to, yes, to contribute to the great adventure of IPMWORKS. But so far, we have not found any funding solutions for the coordination of this EU network. So I'm afraid I have to say that the network is already asleep, and I hope it will be re-awaked someday. But the second conclusion point is that holistic IPM is cost-effective, but still it is poorly adopted by farmers. And why is it poorly adopted by farmers? Because very often it is more complicated. Sometimes it can be more time-consuming in some situations. And surely it is more complicated. If you have to diversify crop rotation, for example, you have to find some new markets and so on. And so, and now today, clearly, reducing pesticide use and pesticide impact is considered by many farmers more as a constraint. And we had some complaining of farmers in many regions of Europe about the environmental constraints for farmers in Europe. And I think we had the discussion about how to make IPM adopted, and it will be adopted by all the farmers the day when IPM and reducing pesticide use is not seen as a constraint, but as an economic opportunity. And for this, we need to engage consumers and agri-food chains. And we discussed many times at the end of the project about the interest or possibility to engage consumers through a label like a kind of pesticide score, which would inform the consumers about how much pesticide was used to produce the product that they are buying, and to help the consumers to support by their product they buy a different agriculture, less reliant on pesticide. And that's my conclusion. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Nicolas.
Your questions, if you have some.
There's quite a few questions in the chat. No, thank you. Really interesting talk, and fingers crossed for continued funding for IPMWORKS Part 2. So we have a good question from Gary in the chat. He says, thank you, very interesting progress. Can you foresee that the adoption of plant extract or microbiology-based crop protection projects can be increased by reduction in their cost as the manufacturers increase volumes sold? Thank you.
I don't know if I can foresee, but clearly, as I try to explain, IPM is a combination of as many options as possible. So clearly, this kind of biopesticides or low-impact pesticides are part of the solution in some contexts and probably not everywhere. So I would encourage, of course, this kind of solutions to be included in holistic strategies whenever it's possible to use it. So, and I guess for this reason, I think there is a room for a lot of more research to develop those kind of solutions.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. There's another question from Richard, and I think then perhaps we'll ask you to answer the rest of the questions in the chat as the webinar goes on. But Richard is asking, was the focus on the reduction in use of synthetic plant protection products? Have you seen an increase in the use of biological PPPs and the number of these PPPs products authorized for use in the EU?
Yes, the response is Yes, especially, we in France, the IPMWORKS project was inspired by the DeFi network in France. And the DeFi network has one great advantage, two great advantages. One is it's a big network of 2,000 farmers. And two, it is quite old now because it started in year 2000. So we have some view of the past and on the technical solutions used by farmers to reduce the use of synthetic pesticides. And indeed, depending, of course, on the sector, in some sectors, the decrease in synthetic pesticides was possible thanks to the increase of the biological products. And it is, for me, a good point. We don't want to decrease the use of biological pesticides as soon as they have low impact and as soon as it is one part of the solution to decrease the synthetic pesticides. So I would say, for example, in the greenhouse, clearly, I try to explain this, but in the greenhouse, it is one sector where in France, we have seen probably the strongest decrease in the use of synthetic pesticides. I think in the DeFi network, it's something like minus 40% of synthetic pesticides over 10 years, something like this. And this was mostly done thanks to the use of biological pesticides and biological solutions. And as I said, sometimes reinforced by the adaptation of the way the crops are grown in the greenhouses, and especially, for example, increasing the biodiversity of flowers and things like this in the greenhouses.